Hi everyone, this is Ed Esselman of Esselman Counseling. What I want to talk to you about today is a session I had with a woman recently. She is the mother of a 15 and a 13-year-old boys, and she was talking to me about her 13-year-old son who has been lying to her. And I just love the way in which she dealt with teaching him about lying. Uh, a bit of background. Single parent mother. The boy, the 13-year-old, is excels in a number of extracurricular activities. Um, and so that in part creates the circumstance in which she wants to teach him a lesson, but she's kind of hesitant about giving consequences. Um, because she doesn't want him to stop trying so hard. His grades are pretty good, C's and B's. So anyway, there's been a number of circumstances recently in which she has caught him in lies, and she's talked to him about it, and she has confronted him, shown him evidence. And only when he's confronted with overwhelming amounts of evidence will he admit that yes, he had lied. And so she was just thinking about how do I get through to him at a very personal level about what it's like for me when he lies. This was what she came up with. Um, she had he had come home from a practice or something like that, was tired and hungry, and she said, "Well, here, let me make you a plate, and we'll all sit down and eat." It was supper time, and so this is very unlike her. They make their own plates. But anyway, she made him a plate of food, and she got herself one. The other son, she has two sons. The other son was sitting there at the table, and she came over to the table with his plate and her plate, and she said again, "Here, I've made this plate for you." And she sat down, and she began to eat off of his plate. And she had placed his plate right in front of her and her plate right next to her, and she just began to eat off of his plate. And he didn't understand what was going on, so he said, obviously, well, like, what are you doing? And she said, and she had a very straight face, and she said, well, I've made you this plate for you. Go ahead, enjoy. And she just kept eating from his plate. And and he didn't quite understand yet. What are you doing? Why are you eating from my plate? And she said, oh, I'm not eating from your plate. Here, this is for you. And she kept eating from his plate. And finally he said, okay, I get it. And she said, well, that's real good. And she kept eating from his plate. Okay. She ate his entire plate. It was interesting because the brother, watching all of this, she knew what mom was doing, or he knew what mom was doing, and he was kind of laughing quite a bit at the brother's expense. Anyway, the boy ended up fixing a peanut butter and jelly sandwich for himself, and but he acknowledged, okay, I get it. You're trying to teach me about lying. And she said, that's right. That was the only time she acknowledged just that one line, and she ate all of his plate. She said, I about died because after I ate his plate, I felt compelled to eat my plate too, just to, show him that I was going to do this. I was, I liked that idea of how she presented back to him this concept of lying. She did it all with a straight face. She did it not. She did not do it with any kind of attitude. There was no yelling. Um, the boy had come home. He was hungry. Um, so he got the message at a very physical level, very guttural level. I think it worked really, really well for a young adolescent boy. I don't know if it would work as well with a young girl, a girl 13 or 14, about lying. But I think it worked very well. you know, all Mom said was, yes, I'm teaching you a lesson about lying. And that was all she said. She didn't have to go on and lecture, etc. So she had a lot of self-control. Um, and she let the boy make a peanut butter and jelly sandwich. He was not allowed to eat the meal that she had made, and she was not, and apparently there was nothing left in terms of food left over, so he couldn't get his own plate. And I think that would have been counterproductive too. Um, the other things I like about this was that um, she did not go on and lecture. Um, Afterwards, they did the dishes together, so there was not the kind of angry attitude that sometimes I'll see in parents when they're trying to get their kids to not lie. Um, so, at any rate, that's it for today. If you have topics that you would like me to blog about or get my views on, drop me an email at ed@esselmancounseling. Otherwise, you can contact me directly at my office, 217-224-5273, 217-224-5273. Also, visit my website, esselmancounseling.com. Okay, take care. Bye-bye.